Hello, Phil Ross here for Dr. Juaire's class, SPHS 502 Motor Learning, and this is my final project. I'm here with my student, Nicole, and we're going to be demonstrating how to properly perform the kettlebell swing. Now, one thing about kettlebells, especially in regard to the ballistic exercises, which we'll be doing today with the swing, it's an incredible tool, but it's like a double-edged sword. That being, you can have great gains with ballistics, unsurpassed by any other type of training, but on the other hand, without the proper training and technique, severe injury can occur. And this is where the learning comes into play. And we're going to specifically focus on the feedback, because feedback is critical here. We have the knowledge of results, which will be demonstrating the full range of motion, and you can tell if you're doing that correctly or not. And also the knowledge of performance. That's where the coach comes in and telling the participant, the learner, how to actually perform the movements and what corrections to make. Now, there's also the augmented feedback here, and that can be concurrent. That's going on when we're doing the movement, and I can make minor corrections there. And then there's also the terminal feedback that we'll do after and between sets. Sometimes you don't want to give something too detailed, while the person is doing an exercise, because they're not going to fully understand what you're doing. Plus, it could also risk injury. So we're going to get into some specifications of the kettlebell swing. This is a kettlebell. Kettlebell has a base, a bottom, two horns, and a handle. Now you hear me talk about different parts of the kettlebell and focusing on that while we're trying to do our swing. So I first would like the learner to approach the kettlebell. Now, I'm going to direct the learner to grab the kettlebell with two hands on the handle. Now also I'm going to have her move her feet backwards a little bit and tilt the bell onto its edge. Why are we doing that? Because I'm already preloading the hips and I want her to feel where that position is. So right away she knows if she's in a good starting position or not. Now the next movement will be to hike the kettlebell back between the legs and then extend fully up. Go ahead and pop. And then set the bell down. Notice when we're coming up, I want her to extend and think about driving through the heels, bringing the kneecaps up into the quads, tighten the butt, tighten the gut. So we're taking our coccyx and bringing it to our navel. We're going to pull our ribs down. We're going to focus on packing our shoulders, engaging our lats, and the bell's trajectory is not upward. The bell's trajectory is forward. So we have to know that we're doing this properly. So again, do 5 reps in a row. Pull in, extend up. Lock it out, keep the arms straight. Arms are like ropes. You do not want tension in the arms. The arms need to be relaxed. It's all grips and hips. Again, I told her to bring the kneecaps up into the quads. So what we're doing that is pulling up through here, creating maximum tension. Now the next thing we're going to focus on here is complete tension and complete relaxation. So we're going to have complete tension at the extension and relaxation on the way down. We'll do 5 more reps. Exhale on the hip pop. So what are we talking about? Exhale on the hip pop. As she breathes, tightens everything up. That hip pop, that's when we want our maximum power. That's where we're going to get our power for if we need to throw a punch, we're going to throw someone, we're going to throw a shot put. Any of those times where we need to develop explosive power, here's where we're going to do it. Okay? So the next thing we're going to work on will be both the eccentric and concentric motions. Okay? This is where kettlebells can really help you with your endurance training. If you do 10 repetitions in this fashion, it's like akin to doing sprints. So Another one of the great benefits of kettlebell is not only are you working your strength, but you're also working your endurance. And in many other ones, we're also hitting on our mobility, flexibility. And one of the really neat things about a kettlebell is, especially with the kettlebell swing, which is considered the mother of all kettlebell exercises, is that we're reverse engineering the hips. So what do I mean by that? Reverse engineering of the hips. So great athletes have great hips, whatever sport you're doing. Everything begins from the hips. So in this instance, we're helping the athlete develop where the hips are at. So if you notice, turn this way please, if you notice without the kettlebell, and get into that position as you were going to swing, right there, good. Now, this position is athletic, right? So if we were to be in a wrestling stance, or maybe playing tennis, or even golf, guarding someone in basketball, this is our athletic position. And we're teaching the learner here how to access that position and have power in this position. So now we're going to do the eccentric and concentric motions. So what do I mean by that? The eccentric is the extension, explosion up. Now we also want to get the power going down, the concentric. So we're going to smash that kettlebell back between the legs like we're hiking a football. Boom, boom. So now we're getting double the work in half the time. Let's do 10 eccentric and concentric kettlebell swings. Begin. Smashing it between the legs, getting deeper. We want to make sure that the arms are going down to the elbows and that we're keeping a neutral spine. Notice how the bell has a divot to it. Breathing, locking it out. Good, good. Notice the breath, locking out the motion. This is where we get the power. How you feeling there?
Winded.
A little winded. It's like doing 100-yard sprints doing this exercise. Now, there's also other exercises that are revolved around the swing. You can also use a dual kettlebell swing. So on a dual kettlebell swing, you'll use 2 kettlebells. So what you want to focus on here is really keeping the shoulders packed and the lats engaged. Because if your shoulders are coming undone, the bells will hit together. So if you can demonstrate, and then you'll see she'll do some where the hits the bells together. I'll cue her to pack the shoulders, engage the lats, and then miraculously, you will not hear the bells clank together. Yeah. Ready? And begin. See, the bells are clanging together. Pack your shoulders. Pack the shoulders. Now she packs the shoulders and the bells do not hit each other. Good. And park the bells. Notice also she's keeping a neutral spine. Neutral spine is essential. So we're going to do a sideways view with these 2 bells. Kettlebells also have great properties of healing for back injuries. Why? Why is that so? Our spine is made up of 21 vertebrae. So what we want to do is we want to keep those vertebrae in line. How are we going to keep them in line? By strengthening the support muscles. You have the spinae erector, erector spinae, you also have the multifidi, which are in between. The erectors go up and down the whole spine, and the multifidi, they'll take up 2 to 3 different vertebrae at a clip. And kettlebell swing will strengthen these muscles by reinforcing this position. So we want to make sure that we have this good position, maintain that neutral spine posture at all times. So we're going to watch, see how the neck will have its natural curve as well as the back. There'll be no rounding of the shoulders. Again, that telltale sign of rounded shoulders are when the bells clang together. So now you know that your learner, client, student, athlete is not performing the exercise properly. So let's show again the proper form. Notice the neutral spine. Good, and park the bells. Now we're going to show a rounded spine and how we're going to correct that. We'll use a single bell. So you see how the back is rounded, and then we're going to correct that. So do a couple rounded. Now, squeeze the rhomboids together and start again. Notice how the rhomboids are squeezed together here. Those are one of the cues. Good. Shoulders packed, lats engaged. So these are the basics for the kettlebell swing. The kettlebell swing, as you said before, is the mother of all kettlebell exercises and has been utilized in many, many different areas. The kettlebell swing is being utilized by physical therapists for strengthening the back and developing hip drive and helping with injuries that have occurred in the hips as well. And the get up is another one that's being used by therapists for getting overall movement, as well as the goblet squat. But the mother of all ballistic kettlebell exercises is the kettlebell swing. The hip hinge, the depth of the arm, the neutral spine are consistent throughout every single other ballistic kettlebell exercise. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Nicole.